This video is to be used in conjunction with the Penthrite Projectile User's Manual created by the Alaska Eskimo Whaling Commission for use by its members. Assembly of the penthrite projectile.
Hello, my name is Billy Adams, and I work for the Alaska Eskimo Whaling Commission in the Weapons Improvement Program. And I'm here to show you a few things that are needed to assemble the penthrite projectile and the use of the penthrite projectile. We also want to show you how to do this safely when you are out on the field. Always refer to the user manual. This manual was made from the Alaska Eskimo Whaling Commission and the Weapons Improvement Committee members how to use the penthrite projectile safely. Today we are going to show you how to properly install the penthrite projectile. First, we need to have a clear space. Make sure that there's nobody in front of you or in front of the boat. Here we have the triple B barrel, which fits the penthrite projectile. And it is fitted by the Weapons Improvement Program committee members. And here we have the penthrite projectile body. And here we have the fuse head, which goes on the penthrite projectile body. And is also known as the SAM, Safe Arming Mechanism. We also have a sleeve for the new propellant charge that is going to be used. And we also have a trigger rod that is also inspected for the proper length of the darting gun to be used on the super barrel. Other features in the penthrite projectile is the neoprene washer that has been replaced from the leather wadding. We also have a hex key that needs to be adjusted for the triple B barrel. By assembling this, you must check to make sure it will not slide. After doing so, please remember that the split pin is always on before handling the projectile. The split pin is a stainless steel cotter pin, and it is used inside for storing because without the split pin, there is a striker pin which ignites the fuse. This can only be removed when you are out on the field, when you are ready to harpoon the whale.
Remember, if the stirrup gets pushed backward and locked into armed position, never try to return it to safe position.
By handling the safe arming mechanism or the SAM or the fuse head, you hold it with your ring finger and your pinky finger near the stirrup. Make sure that it is firmly into the fuse head. I will now place the propellant charge into the sleeve. Once you have the propellant charge in place, make sure you hold it with your pinky finger behind. This will prevent it from being pushed out from the projectile. Make sure the stirrup is seated in the right place of the triple B barrel, as the stirrup must not move. When you are ready to insert the triple B barrel into the darting gun, please make sure the firing pin is free of any obstruction. To check for any obstruction with the firing pin, it must be moved freely. To check this, have a tool, manually cock it, and if it is stuck, a quick tap may free it of ice or anything. Once the firing pin is loose, you are ready to insert the triple B barrel with the super bomb in it. Before it is firmly seated, make sure you have your trigger rod that is inspected and measured by the Weapons Improvement Program. And it must be 4 inches from the tip of the projectile to the tip of the trigger rod. And make sure the trigger rod is smooth and not bent. I am now putting the trigger rod in place of the triple B barrel and inserting it into the darting gun where the trigger mechanism. I will now cock this in place and make sure that your hand is behind the trigger rod so it will not move. Once you have the trigger rod in place, place in the safety trigger pin into the trigger rod. This will prevent it from misfire. Retighten the penthrite projectile, and it must be parallel with the trigger rod and also the harpoon must also be parallel with the stirrup. Every darting gun is inspected by the Weapons Improvement Program that the stirrup, the trigger rod, and the harpoon will not touch any part of the stirrup. Once you have pulled out the split pin and the darting gun is in place, you are ready to whale.
Remember, remove the 2 safety steel split pins, the one in the front of the fuse head and the second safety split pin on the trigger rod before throwing the darting gun.
Once you are ready to set the darting gun into the boat, make sure the trigger rod is not touching any part of the boat. This will be in the correct position in the boat because it is not touching the trigger rod is not touching any part of the boat. Once that is in place, you can now pull out the trigger safety pin from the trigger rod. When you are ready to harpoon the whale, make sure the line is not tangled and free of any part of your body. Once a whale has come near to you, always hold your left hand as an aiming part. Aim with this arm and throw with your body. When you are near the whale, I come back and use my body weight, aim, and throw. Once you have struck the wheel, it takes about 4.5 seconds for the fuse to burn into the projectile and explode.
Disassembly of the penthrite projectile.
When the penthrite projectile is not used, we are going to disassemble it. Before that is done, always have a firm grip of the darting gun and place the safety pin into the trigger rod again. This will make sure that there is no mishaps. Once again, hold on to the darting gun behind the trigger rod so it will not move backwards. Remove the harpoon. After the safety pin is into the trigger rod, always inspect the projectile free of any obstruction of ice and snow. Then place the split pin for safety reasons, and always pull out the projectile slowly out. Once again, use your ring finger and your pinky finger near the stirrup. It is now disassembled. Now removing the trigger rod from the triple B barrel. Before you do that, loosen the triple B barrel. This will prevent the striker pin from contacting the propellant charge. Then remove the tip of the trigger rod, and once again get a tool, recock the trigger, pull the trigger rod out, and slowly pull your tool back. Once the triple B barrel is out, always remove the propellant charge. You will need a tool to push it out, or the trigger rod. You must disassemble the propellant charge from the sleeve. At the end of the whaling season, please remember to store your penthrite projectile in its traveling case and return to your commissioner, as he will put them in an ATF approved storage container. This training video was made to demonstrate how to safely assemble and disassemble the penthrite projectile.
Answers to frequently asked questions.
There are some frequently asked questions. One of them is the trigger rod. It must be cut to length, and it must be 4 inches from the tip of the trigger rod to the tip of the projectile, which is about this far when it is assembled. Another question is the propellant charge. The propellant charge must be 80 grains And these propellant charts are pre-made that are equivalent to 80 grains. And they will be given to you after the training for use. Also, we want to emphasize again, please always inspect the firing pin on your darting gun that is not protruding too far out. This can cause accidents or misfires.